guys, we are your hosts, Gina and Emilita.
And you're listening to episode 37 of Candid Cloud Convos.
So we're going to jump right into our Chisme chatter this week. How are we going to do this, Gina?
It looks like we can sandwich it again. It looks like we have enough things to sandwich it. So we can start with the exciting news.
Okay, we're going to start exciting and then maybe get a little sad for a second and then bring it right back.
Yeah. Just a little yo-yo.
Yeah, exactly. Teeter-totter.
Yeah.
So the first exciting news, I'll just say one and then you say the other one.
Okay.
So we have new listeners in not one, but two countries this week. And the first one is India. So namaste to all of our Indian listeners. Please stay
listening to us. That was a dad joke.
That was cute. I loved it.
If I've ever heard one. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you enjoy it and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousins, tell your wife,
tell your dog.
And we also have Spain. So hola. Woo! No, ciao. Ciao is bye, right?
Ciao.
So hola. Bueno. Thank you for coming.
We're so excited and happy to have you guys join us. That actually makes 19 countries. So we're so happy.
That 20.
I can't believe it.
We're not like trying to flex on you guys or anything, but like, goddamn, that's so cool.
In the humblest of ways, we are just so proud of ourselves and excited. It's not to brag at all, but we're just like shocked at like the growth, you know? Yeah. So
it's more like we literally, even in our text messages, we're talking about like, how is this actually real?
Lil us.
For real. It's so crazy. And we'll say it every single time there's a new country. We are so grateful and just blessed and happy that you guys are listening to us and hopefully enjoying our podcast.
Right. So moving on from that, unfortunately, so we live in the US and unfortunately this is literally, I think the third or fourth week we've talked about a mass shooting. And it's not just one. Unfortunately, this past weekend, there was 13 U.S. mass shootings.
Yeah. It's a really scary place right now. It's really, I don't even know what's going on. Like, it's
terrifying.
Yeah. And it's hard because it's like, it happens all the time. I mean, 13 in one weekend. This is across the United States, you guys. Like, this is places close to us, places in different states. Like, it's just everywhere. And it's, so many people are getting injured and are dying. And
at least 12 have died and at least 60 people have been injured.
It's
just
like
this past weekend.
What is going to happen? What's going to change? We obviously know there needs to be change, but when? Like, when is it going to happen, you know? And like we always talk about, like, we hate having to talk about really sad, depressing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you always say, we don't make the news, we just talk on it. But the reality is that we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because if we were to do Chisme Chatter and just talk about random stuff when like real serious
only,
real serious stuff like this is going on, it wouldn't sit right with us.
No.
And it's sad to have to talk about, but at the same time it's necessary.
Our reality.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to look up like ways that we can take action or like what can we do as citizens to make change. And on Google, I literally was having the hardest time trying to find resources. Like there was plenty of organizations or like .org websites and stuff that talked about the problem, but there was not much about what you can do to try and be a part of the change or the solution. Right. And so I don't know if we just need to do further research or if you guys have any idea or know of any resources that we can do, like certain politicians we need to email or reach out to like, you know, get the ball rolling. Please let us know because I was having such a hard time trying to look it up. And I wanted to bring that to the conversation because it's been happening so recently. I'm like, not just
let's do something. Let's try.
Let's share the word on what we all can do together. But I couldn't find anything. So I'll keep looking at it. If you guys have any resources, send them to us so we can let everybody know and we'll all be on the same page.
And it's not a coincidence that there's not that many resources on what we can do to make a change.
Right. And I tried to look it up in different ways. Like I asked the question in different ways, but
same results.
Yeah. They all recognize that there's a problem, but there was not much on like, do this, email this person, call this person, and leave a voicemail. And like, you know, the more people that are behind something, the better you have of, you know, making a serious change. So
yeah,
I was a little frustrated, not gonna lie, because I was like, I want to not only bring the, of course, sad news, but what can we do as even just a podcast freaking team, you know, like we obviously are reaching people. So like, what can we do and have them help us, you know, like, I don't know, man, this is fucking crazy.
I think certain places or other countries are even saying to their citizens, like, don't travel to the US right now. They're telling them not to come here because it's so dangerous with how many shootings are happening. And it's not just, you know, like assault rifles and things like that. A lot of it is handguns too.
Right.
And it's just growing. It's just everywhere. And one of them that recently happened, we all know about, is the Uvalde school shooting. And now you're starting to get people talking about the parents that were outside of the school trying to get in, talking about how the police were handling the situation. We have teachers that were in there that are just, you know, the ones that survived. They're speaking their story. Of one of them I seen literally just today. He was in a classroom with 11 students, and every single one of his students passed away. And he said, he's like, he goes, in the moment, he was just thinking about the families, and they, you know, they lost their child. He goes, I lost 11 children. He's like, my whole classroom, you know, he goes, and I just,
oh my God, I just got chills.
No, really. And that's what it was watching the video. And, you know, I'm sorry if this is like really hard for people to listen to, but it's really hard for people that are going through it. So it's like, you have to listen to it.
These conversations need to happen. It's uncomfortable. Fine. If you want to skip, go ahead, skip a couple minutes ahead. But these are the conversations that need to be had, and they're tough conversations, and we get it. If you guys have been feeling a little bit like overwhelmed or just sad, it's been really heavy. The heaviness, exactly. If you feel that way, I feel like it's completely normal. We're feeling that way. Everyone that we've talked to that lives in the US and can relate to it is feeling the exact same way. So it's perfectly fine. But like with that, we need to do something.
Right. And I seen a video of, don't quote me on this because I don't know exactly what it was, but it looked like a Congress type meeting where, like, you know, Senates and the Republicans and all that, they come together to discuss the issues that's going on. And one of them, you know, was sat there and saying, he goes, and he directly asked the men that were there, I think they're on the Republican side, I want to say, and he said, you know, who are you here for? Like, are you here for the children or are you here for the killers? Because at this point, he goes, there are 19 kids that are being buried today. He goes, 19 small caskets. He goes, a Superman casket getting put into the ground.
TikTok.
He's like, who?
Someone making them.
And they're like, who are you here for? Because why do you keep defending what is happening when we're burying children today? You know, like, and he said a story that really, really hit me. Like, I felt it in my chest. He was speaking to someone from the city, and she was saying that she was watching the news with her daughter, and on the news they showed all of the pictures of the children that had passed away from that. And she's seen the news. I'm not sure exactly how old he was. He might have said, but I don't remember. And the little girl asked her mom, she's like, what picture are you going to use for me?
Oh my God.
And I was like, it hit me so hard, because I was like, the fact that these children, like, they know they're not safe in school, and they have to think about, oh, when I die, what picture are you going to use for me? Like, it's just already contemplating in their heads that they're not safe, that they're probably going to die, that a shooter's going to come to their school.
And they're like,
as kids, like, it was really hard.
I actually crazy. I didn't know this when the shooting happened, but with that Uvalde shooting, they had just had parents there for like an award ceremony. And a lot of those children won awards, and their parents were there to like see them win the awards. So they took pictures, and to think like that was the last photo you took with your child or of your child, hours before, and you had no idea that was going to be the last interaction, you know? Like, that is beyond scary.
There was another one I seen where a mom was, I think it was like the last day of school or something like that. They were going inside to drop off paperwork, I'm not sure, but it was the mom, and she was recording her 3 kids walking up to the school, and the oldest daughter started walking backwards, and she gets to her mom and she's like, I'm scared, I don't want to go inside. And she literally was like, she walked away from the school, she's scared to go inside of her own school.
Right.
Where it should be completely safe for children to be at, and she doesn't want to go inside because she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Even with her mom there.
Right. And a lot of, because they know even if the teachers can't protect me, what is my mom going to be able to do?
Yeah.
And so, and not that the teacher should have to, I'm just saying that's who is with them in the classroom, but it's just, it's crazy. Like I've seen so many videos of parents and moms talking about like their kids, and there was a recording of this little boy who talked to his friend like before school started or something. It was like early in the morning, and I guess the friend didn't know about what happened, and they're little kids, and so he's telling him like, oh yeah, like there was a shooting, blah blah blah, and he's like, and honestly, I'm scared to go back to school. Like he literally is telling, and his mom's listening in on the conversation. Oh my God. And she's like, my heart is broken. Like, what do I do?
I would bawl my eyes out. Yes. I would literally bawl my eyes out.
Yeah. Like, what do? You feel probably so helpless because they need to get an education. Yeah. By law, like, like they can't just not go to school, or if you don't have the means to be able to homeschool or anything like that, then you're legitimately stuck.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine. And for some children, if they have hard lives at home, a lot of the times school is their peace place, or like where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe. And the fact that that's being taken away from them, the only thing they have, what the fuck,
Where do they go? Yeah. But then they go to a library that's getting shot up. They go to a park that's getting shot up.
Church.
They get hurt. They go to church. That gets shot up. They get hurt. They go to the hospital. That gets shot up. Right. So where can anybody go to and feel actually safe? There's nowhere right now. There's nowhere. Question. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just rough. It's rough.
We are going to, unfortunately, move forward with not only our lives and figuring out how we can help and be a part of the change, but also
if you guys have any if you guys have any resources that you found, please let us know, because we're trying, but if you can share it with us and we can share it back to anyone else that doesn't know, then that'd be really helpful.
Right. We're just trying to be helpful, as much as we can, because we have this platform. We want to be able to use it to, like, for shit that actually matters, as much as it is funny talking about all these funny Reddit stories, like, this is important and this what matters, so moving on from that.
This one's like a bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because I know that it was time for them to move on, but The Real had their final farewell episode.
Yeah.
They're completely done with their show, the series. I don't know what you would call it, a seasons, but it's a series. Yeah. They're just done. They're done.
They're just done.
Yeah.
It was 9 years, 8 seasons, I think she said. And a lot of good conversations, a lot of probably growth that they've had. Like, we've obviously seen our favorite ones grow a lot.
Yeah.
Just become who they're supposed to be. But it sucks to have like you said, it's bittersweet, because it's like it was such a good show and relatable, and
that's what it was. Honestly, it taught me a lot in certain topics. Like, there's things that I had no idea about, and hearing them talk, I was like, oh shit, like, okay.
Right. And like, it was just a different side, because obviously not all of them always agree.
Exactly. And that was
nice to have like a different opinion.
Yeah. And what was cool about that show too is that not only was it a show, the only daytime show that have women of color, the entire panel was women of color, but their friendships. Like, they legit had real, genuine friendships, like sisterhood. And you could see it in the show, in the way they talk to each other, in the way they banter, even when they disagree. And then they get back to joking in like the next second. It was just a very genuine show. And I feel like you don't see that as much anymore.
Right. And even when like they did have a difference in opinion, it was always very respectful. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you're dumb for thinking that, like, it was like, okay, we respect that's your opinion. And if you can talk on it and explain it, then fine. But if not, like, if you have there's no weight behind it, then like, why are you saying that?
And that's what was cool, is that they all did have different opinions. Like, each one of them had a very different way of seeing things. And so hearing all the different perspectives and just getting to hear it out, they had a very healthy way of talking about having different opinions, and you don't see that as much nowadays.
Yeah.
So they did it really, really well.
Especially a group of women.
Exactly. Yeah.
So congratulations to them for all of their, like, they're literally Emmy award winning, talk show hosts. So like, I just hope that whatever they end up doing in their their own professional and personal lives that they, you know, are proud of what they've done and the changes that they've done and just the conversations, because it's obviously, we're not a talk show, but on a very small scale, I feel like it's similar to have these conversations that are hard, and we don't always agree on everything either. So it's like, it's cool to be able to relate to them in that way. And it's some of these people who we've watched as kids, and they have like this role, like Tamara and Adrian Bailon, Houghton, excuse me.
Oh, get it right.
It's hyphenated, I think, but like those girls we watched as little kids. So it's like really cool to see them as women, powerful women in their fucking truth, you know?
No, it's sick. It's really, really cool. I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss them. It's cool because they're gonna go on and doing their own things. Huh?
We definitely look up to them a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So gonna miss them, but good for them. We wish them well.
Do amazing things in the future.
And God bless that YouTube has a bunch of clips on there that we can go back and watch
over and over. And you never know, maybe they'll end up doing another show together, which is similar, or, you know, just maybe something that they're producing, you know? Yeah. So that would be cool. And then the last thing that I seen was that Wendy's is unveiling a limited time strawberry frosty. And I don't know, that seems kind of good.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds kind of good. And this is the picture.
Okay, with the Dole Whip.
Yes.
So that's
I
really
cool.
Cool.
Like their other frosties, like the consistency of their frosties. So I only can assume that the strawberry will be good.
I wonder why it's limited time.
Probably because they've never had strawberry before, and they're probably like, "What if we don't do it?"
Just gonna see. Just gonna see how it does.
Yeah, and then maybe if they get a good response, kind of like the spicy chicken nuggets from McDonald's, they got a good response, they brought them back, but only to certain locations.
Yeah, not in other locations that are near me. So
I'm not sure about.
I don't get to have the spicy nuggets.
You know, Burger King's ones are actually pretty good too.
Are they? I seen a tweet that was like, who the hell is keeping Burger King open? Like they're saying like no one eats Burger King no more. And for me,
not true.
For me, I love the Burger King chicken fries. That was always, they had it for a limited time.
Spicy ones.
They should. They got rid of it. They brought it back, and now it's like a permanent. It's just on their menu.
Yeah.
But also with them, you have to get it at a good time. Because there was one time where like 3 times in a row, you could tell they were just reheated and they were fucking rubbery.
Hard.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, but when you get them fresh, it's so good.
Nothing better.
So good. Love it.
But you know, that's the chisme this week. We'll get into our main topic right now. And this week we have a very spicy topic. We kind of segued to it last week talking about body positivity. So we saved our opinions, thoughts, and stories for this week for a full segment. So let's just get into it. Oh, you said you had a story last week and you didn't want to say it until we were recording for this episode. Do you remember what it was? You were mentioning that in junior high, someone brought up something that became an insecurity for you.
Okay. So are we starting with like insecurities first or just starting off with the story?
Totally up to you. One thing that I did want to mention was like the difference between when we were younger and now, like growing up, especially because social media, like we grew up with social media being like such a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's really important because like growing up, I thought one way, or like I viewed beauty as one thing. Now I feel like it's not like that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Can we keep this little part in where you just said that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I want to go off that. I just watched a segment on The Real where Jeannie Mai was talking about one thing that she would tell her younger self is to not focus so much on like beauty, I guess, outside physical characteristics and stuff.
Right.
And she just, you know, she's like, I was always trying to find a new way to do my makeup or new this or new that and whatever. She's like, now I just would rather work on herself mentally and her personal characteristics, I guess, rather than physically. And like, I was like, oh, and I was like, I really like that because I feel like I was the same way. Mm-hmm. It's like for a long time I was very, very fixated on how I looked. And like you said, because social media was a huge thing. And obviously you go through an age where you're just comparing yourself.
Yeah.
You know, girls are developing different at different times and all these different things. So I feel like before I was very much just so fixated on how I looked and what my body was doing and what it wasn't doing.
Yeah.
stuff, but the story that you're talking about. So it didn't happen till junior high. And I never got like made fun of, like people would come up to me and like bully me or nothing like that about it. I would just overhear it. And so I'm like, okay, well, they're not saying nothing to my face.
This is bad though.
No, it's still fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, no one's saying nothing to my face. So I've always kind of just brushed it off. But then it became something like an inner insecurity, which was my nose. I never really tripped off that before. And then in junior high, people were like making fun of me, but I would hear about it either through friends who would tell me,
like a third party person.
Exactly. It was always third party. And then I was like, oh, and so for a long time, that was an insecurity of mine. And I always would talk about like, oh, I'm gonna get a nose job. Like when I can afford it, I'm gonna get a nose job. Blah, blah.
Yeah. Like no questions asked. You already had it like, set in your mind.
Now, and this didn't even happen until literally probably this year or maybe late last year.
Yeah.
But I had seen, I don't know if it was a video or a tweet, or it was just something where someone was like just talking about if our ancestors had seen all the changes we're making to our bodies, of things that are, you know, not the society, like the normal society version of beauty, what they think is beautiful and what they consider beautiful. Perfect. Yeah. And so, you know, and if our ancestors were to see all the changes we're making to the things that make us special and make us different and part of our culture. And I was like, wow, that's really true. I never thought of it that way, you know?
Yeah, me neither.
And it kind of hit me different. And so I was just like, wow, you know, why am I going to change that? It does make me different. It's not maybe societal norm or whatever, but that doesn't mean it's bad either.
Right.
And so I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to do that. Right. Like it is what it is. I've accepted it. I'm learning to love it. Yeah. And it's a lot easier than when I was just stressing off of it all the time. But then also I feel like my face changed a little bit as I grew older. Yeah. And I feel like it kind of also grew into it too. When you're a kid, like things are not proportionate all the time. And then you mature, your face matures.
The kids nowadays don't have an ugly, awkward stage. However, we can definitely say we witnessed and were a part of that that movement. Era. So we definitely,
it was rough out here.
It was very fucking rough.
And it's still rough because we have to look back and see those pictures where, you know, we're in that little ugly duckling stage.
And I deleted all this generation. Like I deleted a shit ton of pictures because I was so insecure about it.
Dude, I used to like post a lot on Facebook when you know Facebook was big.
Oh, girl, I got so many privated fucking photo albums in there.
Dude, I went back and I deleted so much. I privated so much stuff because I'm like, never are people gonna see these pictures again.
Not need to see not even one day, not even one second of daylight. No. Please no.
Oh, so cringe.
Nobody expose us, please. All of our friends that have pictures of us from like elementary school, do not come for us.
Yeah, that means you got those pictures too, because it means we grew up together, which means you were also part of that.
I'm not calling you guys ugly, but let's be real. We all were in it together.
You have to learn a lot.
What I was going to say about just like growing up and the difference now too is that for me, for example, like my like physical body, like not facial wise, but like physical body kind of, I feel like I developed a little bit quicker than a lot of the girls in our grade specifically. And so I just felt like out of place. Like I felt a lot larger than them. And I was also a little bit taller at the time too. Like I was pretty tall for that specific age group. Now I would say I'm like average size, you know? But at the time I was just growing a lot faster than the other girls, and a lot of the other girls were very petite and like cutesy, and I just was not that. And obviously thinking back now, like looking at pictures of myself, now looking at it, I'm like, oh wow, I wasn't even that, like I wasn't what I thought I was, you know what I mean? But at the time
in your head, it's like,
it just, and I feel so like much different. I've never been diagnosed with body dysmorphia, or I don't even know if that's something you can be diagnosed with. However, doing research on it, I feel like it is definitely something that I deal with. So I don't know if it was just that added to it from being also the one girl that had boobs in 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like it just makes you feel a certain type of way when everyone around you looks a certain way and you don't look like that.
Right.
So you feel like you're the one who's ugly, or like you're the one who needs to do something to fit in, like whatever.
Being different is weird or is bad, or
it was
that's what's like accumulated to, you know?
Yeah, I feel like now it's more the unique things, like people really embrace them and encourage people who have like different things to them, you know, like unique things about them. But back then it was like, no, like everyone has to be the same and look the same.
That's because our generation grew up with it, was like, hell no, this shit needs to change.
Yeah, because like, why are you gonna do that to yourself?
I was just gonna say, it was funny because, you know, for you it was more, that was something that you didn't like about yourself or maybe got insecure about. And for me it was the opposite, because I was the one who was like, my body wasn't developing as fast as what I felt like other girls were at that time. And so I'm like, I was looking at girls like you and being like, oh my gosh, like I wish I had her body. I wish like my body was doing what her body's doing. And then it's you know, it's the flip of everyone has insecurities about different things, and it's like you always want what someone else has,
or like you can't have what you don't have.
Like you have curly hair, you want straight hair. If they had straight hair, they wanted curly hair, or however, you know.
And I think too, because I wasn't open to talking about it, I never had someone tell me like, girl, you're crazy, like how you're saying, I wish I was that, or I wish my body was doing that. Like I was so insecure about it and just trying to fit in that I never even said anything, because I was like, I don't want to attract more attention to myself, you know. So had I had someone tell me that, it probably would have been the confidence boost that I needed, that probably wouldn't have made me go for so long hating my body, you know. And I think also a lot of the shows that I would watch growing up, it was like America's Next Top Model and shit like that just was feeding all of this bullshit into my brain about, and a lot of like, trigger warning, a lot of these women have eating disorders and mental things going on, to where like in the modeling industry, you know, or even utilize drugs and stuff to be a certain size and remain a certain size. So it's just like growing up with that, and then seeing magazines and all the models and the actresses, and they were all like perfect bodies, perfect hair, like they never looked out of place or nothing. Plus I always looked up to my sister because I just thought she was like so beautiful. Like she would do her makeup, and like she had like a little scene phase that I thought was so cool. I don't know why. And so I just always wanted to be like her, you know, like I just wanted to look like her, and our bodies were completely different. Like she was genuinely probably a size 0 or 00 in pants. And I remember one time I was probably in like 5th grade or something like that. And she's a couple years older than me. So she's probably high school, maybe like freshman, sophomore year. And she had these American Eagle jeans. And she was like, oh, we're going to go walk around the mall or whatever. And she was like trying to dress me like to be like her, you know? So she gives me her pants and she's like, just put them on, like whatever. Girl, they did not go up, not past my shins. I was like, no, what the heck? And then I got really down on myself because I was like, wow, like, you know, I don't know why I thought like, oh, well, she's a lot older than me, so like I should be able to fit into her stuff because I'm small, like I'm younger, I should be smaller. You know what I mean? And so it really, really bothered me to where I literally sat in the bathroom and cried, because I was like, oh my God, like I can't be like her, because I'll never be like her, because I will never have that body. And I didn't appreciate it for so long until I started realizing like, no, it's fine. You look the way you look because that's the way you look. And that's how you're supposed to look, you know?
And also, like you were saying, like it was definitely, it's more than I guess it is now. Even though I still feel like now it hasn't fully changed or gone to the point where it should be. But, you know, like you were saying, everything was directed towards super skinny, like pretty much skin and bones. To the point where already skinny women would develop eating disorders or do these things to get themselves even smaller. Because if you're considered even like mid-size or whatever that means, that's too big. If you were not a 0, you're not fit to be a model, or you're not fit to be on whatever it is you think you want to do. You can't do it because you're not skinny enough.
Exactly. You know? And so much of our worth growing up was put into the way we looked. Like we said, like we were focused so much on the way we looked, and we thought everyone else was focused on the way that we looked, and that it should be something we cared about, when looking back, it's so dumb. Like I feel like I wasted so much time hating myself and hating the way I looked. And I remember seeing this quote that really changed things for me, not even probably a year ago, but it said, you can't hate yourself into a version that you'll love. And I was like, whoa, like me being so negative about it is never going to get me a positive result. Like I'm never,
like it hasn't been working so far.
Yeah. And I tell myself too, like, if I can't appreciate my body the way it is now, if something was to happen to me, or I get pregnant and I gain weight and whatever, why would I appreciate that body? You know? So I'm like, anything can happen. And weight is it's like a touchy subject for a lot of people. but I feel like now I don't care as much about the way that it look or the weight, like the number itself. I more care about how I feel, you know?
Yeah.
If I feel good, if I feel I have energy, I feel like I can get through my day and I'm positive and confident, then I don't give a shit what the scale says, you know?
Yeah. And I like that because I feel like a lot of the times we forget what our bodies are actually doing. Like we just see our bodies for what it looks like, but we're not thinking about what it's going through, what it's doing for us, keeping us sustained throughout the day.
Exactly.
And so it sounds like what you're saying is you want your body to feel healthy. And really that's the most important. I think that's so important because that's where we all need to get to is doesn't matter how much you weigh or how little you weigh or what your body really looks like. Is if you're healthy, you can work out to be healthy, work out, not to lose the number, you know, the numbers on the scale or nothing like that. And just in general, if you want to feel better and feel healthy and feel energized, then that's what it should be about rather than what it's going to look like.
Exactly. Because you're only going to look the way that you look while you look like it. Like you, for example, I'm 24. I'm only going to have this 24-year-old body for 1 year and then it's going to be changed. And things change probably internally all the time that we don't even realize. So like when you're only given one body, I just feel like do not waste your time. Like do not waste your time feeling so upset and low about it when, like you said, you don't even realize all of the things
everything is doing.
And one thing too that I wanted to mention was something that I did to kind of, I don't want to say nurture the body positivity, but a lot of the models that I would see, even like with Fashion Nova, if you didn't go specifically to the curve section, like you're only going to see one type of body frame. So shopping is really hard online because you can't see what that would look like on, you know, your specific
body type.
Exactly. And so I would follow the models, like the specific ones that they had, or influencers even that were not my body type. And then when I would see them on Instagram, I would be like, oh my God, that outfit is so cute, but that's not going to look like that on me. And then I would get in my head about it.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. Like when people would say, no, really, like how many times have you ever said you looked at something and you're like, ooh, that's hella cute, but it doesn't look good on me. That wouldn't look good on me.
Without even having it on.
Yeah.
And picture like, that wouldn't look good on me.
And then even worse, putting it on and being like, and just because it doesn't look like what it looked like on a mannequin or like on the girls, you know, that have this
on the hanger.
I'm like, no, I can't fit it. I can't rock this outfit. But it's like, you're meant to rock the outfit, not the outfit rocks you, you know? So it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But, that's so good.
The one thing that I did that actually really, really helped me with that and being like comparing ourselves, because I feel like it's natural. Like as a human, it's natural to compare yourself to others, even though it's not a good thing. We all do it. If you'd be lying if you said you didn't, you know, at least once. And so what I did was I actually, like, no hate to them at all. Like I still support some of the influencers. I can't have that be on my feed all the time. I can't be seeing that all the time because it's never going to be realistic for me. So what I did was if I still wanted to support them, I just muted them. Or I just started adding and following a lot more people who looked a little bit more like my body frame. So then when I was looking through my feed, I was seeing girls who looked like me and it gave me the confidence boost because I see them be so confident. And it wasn't like I'm tearing myself apart looking at someone who's nothing like me. It's like, oh shit, like she's doing it and she looks like me and that's fucking cool, you know? So I think just changing that, it really did like huge freaking improvement for me, honestly.
I love that. Who's one of the influencers that you look to for inspiration?
I know we both have this one in common, even though her body frame is different from yours, but her confidence, like unmatched. Brie Martinez.
For sure. Period. Love her. And I love that she stands up for all body types specifically. Like she's always going to be the voice for her body type and things like that. But she's also a voice for every single, just body positivity in general.
Yeah.
So love that about her.
So upon doing research for this episode, the body positivity movement obviously came up and it's very prominent or like kind of like trending, I guess. I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of trending, I guess. And so when I was doing research on that, body neutrality movement came up and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, me neither. And so this girl, she did an article and she said, I recently stumbled across something called the body neutrality movement. You may have been familiar with the body positivity movement that has been gaining popularity the past few years, but body neutrality takes a more neutral stance when it comes to self-love. So it says, coined in 2010 by a treatment program for binge and emotional eating, body neutrality aims to put less emphasis on appearance and attractiveness in relation to our bodies, which is kind of what we were talking about. And so it says body positivity believes you should feel beautiful despite pressure from societal standards. Body neutrality moves away from outward appearance as markers for self-love. And so she basically just said body positivity will never work for me because I don't feel good about myself all of the time. There's so many things I desperately want to change about my appearance. So a movement that emphasizes appearance and attractiveness and the idea that once you realize your beauty, you will finally love yourself will never help will never help her. So she pretty much just focuses on like just being neutral about it, like not having a good or bad connotation to her body, just being healthy and focusing on self-love internally.
Yeah.
That's more what that movement is. And I was like, I kind of like that a lot better. Like, I do believe you should be positive and happy about who you are and everything. And I think it is important to feel good about the way that you look, just because everyone sees you, you know?
Yeah.
So in a way, I can kind of maybe take both.
I like the message that she's saying. Yeah. I have a couple questions. Like, I would wonder if, sometimes like if like I'll do it with you. If I see you in an outfit, I'm like, bitch, like that would look so good on you. Like I can picture it on you. That would look so good. Would that then be like offensive?
I think it's just something for themselves. Like, I don't think it necessarily, because also with that, you don't want outdoor or outside factors to be your worth too, right? Just because you're telling me I'm gonna look cute or that I do look cute, am I really feeling that inside of me if I don't believe that myself?
Yeah. But like, am I is it offensive to you if I say that because you don't want to hear it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, as humans, we're all very visual people. Like, I don't think that that's something that, for me personally, I wouldn't be offended by that, I don't always take the best compliment. However, I wouldn't be like, bitch, like, excuse me, but like, that may look different for anybody else. Talking just on our own, I was telling her that growing up at the doctors, they tell you for your specific age and your height, you should be this specific weight and you can't fluctuate. Yeah. Like, it's a chart and it's like,
you better be within the margins or something.
Yeah. It's black and white. There's no gray area. This is what it is. So growing up, the doctor would tell me for your age and your height, you're considered obese. And I'm like, what? Like, and I look back at pictures of myself and I'm like, I look like every other little kid. Like, there was nothing wrong with me. I know that. But for doctors or even teachers or anybody to say shit to you like that, it stays with you. And I wonder, like, if those certain things never happen, how would I have developed mentally about it? Like, would I still have had these same feelings and turmoil to myself for so many years? Or would I have been perfectly fine and not cared,
And then when they introduce BMI and then now, and I don't know if they do this in all schools or whatever, but they would check that BMI stuff in class, in your PE class, in front of everybody. Like, they're doing it in front of everybody. So it's not like it's this personal thing either. So then it goes back into the sense of kids hearing this thing about them. And it's like, oh, okay, something's wrong with me.
Exactly. And I think I can understand why they do those certain checks, and it's to make sure that we're obviously healthy as kids and, we're progressing in a healthy way. However, you not once would get tips on how to live a healthier lifestyle, snacks that you should eat as a child to be more healthy or whatever. Like all of our schools, until a certain point when it became illegal to have however much sugar, like we had big ass cookies in elementary school that you would get with your lunch, and like those sugar cookies with the thick old icing, the bomb ass ones, they would give us those, but they were like huge, after school programs, you would get sweets and candy and all this stuff. And it's like, how can you do that and then, you know,
there's
blame
no
the
flip
kid.
side to it. Yeah, like the only thing they would give is a sheet with a picture of a plate and what's supposed to be like the portions.
Yeah,
that was it. But
no,
that's not doing much because a lot of families cannot afford to even get the healthier stuff. So it's like you're creating the problem within this country, then telling everybody it's their fault or their responsibility to then fix the problem. But it's like, and then going back to the school snacks, it's like, it's not like the lunches that they were giving were the most healthy either.
No.
And if you didn't, and then to make it worse, if you didn't have the money to pay for lunch, then what?
Yeah. And not eating is worse than eating what we were given.
Exactly. So it's like either you don't eat or you eat whatever's given to you, and that's not really that healthy at all. It's all processed foods.
Right.
Then they'll throw in an apple or banana just to be like, oh, here you go. Here's a little.
And most of the time you would have to take it, and then there would be like a donation bin of all the fruits that nobody actually wanted, but physically you had to take it in order to get your lunch.
So it was like, it creates a cycle, and but only to really tell you that you're doing something wrong with the way you're eating or with the way your body is.
Exactly.
How you felt growing up and how you felt about your body. Where do you think you've grown to at this point in your life, and where do you want to get to in the future?
You know what I just thought about too? So we touched on how when we grew up, very, very small, petite frames were favored, right? But I feel like toward the end of high school, maybe in high school, more of a curvier hourglass body frame is now considered beautiful and preferred, right? And a lot of influencers and stuff have had plastic surgery to make their bodies, you know, resemble that. And so obviously my body's not perfect, but I'm very grateful. However, I do have more of like a curvier body frame. So I guess you could say that my body is now considered what would be favored, right? Or preferred. So it's kind of weird because I used to hate it so much because I didn't fit that societal norm. And now I guess I technically do. But it's like, I'm not, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, like I fucking look good or whatever. Like, I'm really not. I think it's crazy the difference in like 10 years.
It's funny. It's actually funny because it's like the people or the girls or whoever was making fun of the different body types that didn't fit that petite frame
are now when they have curves,
then started making changes for their own bodies to fit what now is trending and what's the ideal body type.
Right.
And like, I feel like at no point is an ideal body type going to be a good thing, because either people are going to starve themselves to try to fit this body type, or they're going to get plastic surgery or try to do things in an unhealthy or safe way to get this other body type or whatever. I just think there needs to be like a not ideal, just healthy, like just be healthy. Yeah.
And we've talked about it before. If you genuinely want plastic surgery for yourself to make yourself feel good, by all means, my friend, do it. If you can afford it and you can do it, do what's going to make you happy.
Just do it safely.
Yes, do it safely. And also, you know, with that, you can't look at other people and then project. Just because that's what makes you happy doesn't mean that the next person wants that or whatever.
Yeah. And also that you think it's going to change your life either, because we've, you know, there's botched episodes where people go in and they want certain surgeries and the doctors are like, okay, but you know, obviously they specialize in plastic surgery, so it's all cosmetic, but there's even a point where they get to where they're like, I don't think you're doing this for the right reasons. I don't think this is going to do what you think it's going to do for you in the end. And I don't want to put you through a surgery or procedure that's not going to make you happy at the end of the day.
Unnecessarily. You know?
Yeah. So it's also like, don't do the surgeries if you think it's going to change your whole life and your confidence depends on it, you know?
Yeah, because you're putting your worth with your body frame and the way that you look, and that shouldn't be at the forefront of who you are, you know? Authentically, you are whoever you are inside of you, because regardless of the shell on the outside, you're still the same person inside. You might be a little bit more confident, and if that was something you were insecure about and it feels good to you to change it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, to the core of who you are, it's the same person, you know?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, with that being said, I think it's just things that I had to switch in my mind. Like, I feel like my mindset was what was off rather than my body itself.
Yeah.
So I think just learning that it's okay not to look like everyone else was a starting thing. And then just really developing those confidence, like all of the times that we've talked about Vegas and in LA and all of these things, when we felt good and we felt confident, I feel like they're all little like puzzle pieces to who I am now. And I'm not gonna say I'm the most confident person. No, hell no. We're always works in progress. But I feel like I've come a long fucking way. And I can honestly say, like, I do appreciate my body. Some days more than others, of course. You know, I still get on myself about shit some days. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I am grateful, you know, and if something was to change within my body, cool. If not, cool. Like I feel neutral about it now. You know?
Which sounds like a really healthy place. Yeah, to be in.
Yeah, I feel like it is.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel?
I feel kind of the same, honestly. I feel like I think I'm getting better now about like working out and doing things like that. But I think that's more, I'm not trying to get a certain body type, but I just do really want to feel good. And I used to exercise a lot more as a kid. Like I was an active kid, but then once high school hit, like I stopped and I wasn't doing nothing, you know, but I actually enjoyed it and I enjoyed doing, you know, it happened. But I do enjoy exercise. I just have to find what I'm interested in. So some days I don't do like a specific workout, but it's like I'm dancing or I'm just like moving around or something. And that's a workout. And if I barely broke a sweat, but I actually worked out for like 30 minutes of dancing in my room. And okay, I did something. Yeah, like I had a good time. It gets my body moving, gets my heart pumping. So whatever, it's good, you know?
Exactly.
But I think no, I don't think, but I know I definitely got to the point where I stopped reaching, I guess, for a specific body type. And I'm just like, okay, this is my body, so let me like work with what my body actually is and what's healthy and right for my body frame and shape and all that stuff. My body's also changing at the same time that I'm kind of coming to terms with that. So I'm also being gentle with myself in the fact that my body's changing. And just kind of taking it as it comes.
The being gentle with yourself, I think it's the perfect way to put it, because regardless, we're still growing, and
body changes like well into your 30s. Like your body's always going to change.
And then once we have kids, our body frames are going to be completely changed and different, and with each kid too, you know? So I think it's just, like we said before, really appreciating where you are right now and how much your body can do for you, and changing your mindset. Like for me, for example, I've never really enjoyed exercising all that much besides like dancing and doing something fun that doesn't feel like gym cardio exercise. But like, I'm not gonna go run, girl. No, hell no. Like
you will not catch us out here on a fucking cloud Nena jog.
Like y'all will not catch us doing that anytime soon. But maybe if we were on the beach, you know, like it changes with whatever you're doing, you know. But
having fun and playing games, it's different. But just to like, hey, I would never call you and be like, girl, let's go for a run. You want to go on a jog with me? Like that's not gonna happen.
At you. Like, I'll watch you fucking
jog. You're like, who is holding you hostage on the phone? Like, what is going? Say the safe word.
Right. I'm like, girl.
You're like, FaceTime me. I need to see you right now.
Did you mean to call me? You got the wrong workout partner, friend.
You got the wrong bitch. It's the wrong Missy right here.
Wrong bitch for real. But I think just with that too, like changing your mindset in every aspect. For example, someone used to say, you know, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go work out, I have to go to work, I have to do this, blah blah blah. I have this long list of things I need to do. But instead, it's more of a privilege. Like for working out, I get to test my body and see how strong I can be today, or I can see how fast I am, or whatever it is. So I think just changing your mindset that way too, it really makes a difference, because you're not thinking of it as a chore. You're thinking of it like, ooh, let me test my body and see what I can do. You know,
there's a girl that I watch on YouTube, and she had kind of recently, I think last year, maybe a couple years ago, been in an accident. And for a while she couldn't walk. She was in crutches or a wheelchair for a long time, then finally got back to the point where she could work out. And she was saying in her video, she goes, I just feel so grateful that I'm finally able to move my body again, give it the exercise it needs. She goes, because for a long time I couldn't. And I feel like a lot of us sometimes forget that, and that's why I love that you said I get to, because it's a blessing and it's a privilege to get to move your body and exercise and things like that.
Right.
And definitely take it for granted.
Somewhat easy, you know?
Right. Yeah. That for someone else, it's not, you know? Right. Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know if that was any wisdom, but it was just our experiences and our thought process of, as you know, from kids to older and to now. And how much it still could change. And whatever. So I don't know that we dropped
years. We'll probably have to touch on it when we hit our 30s.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, the shit that we learned in our 20s about
after a couple of kids or something. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that we dropped any wisdom, but in case we
did, very relatable.
And at least, right?
Yeah.
But we can always drop a little bit of wisdom at the end of the week anyways. So
we definitely will. We have one already coming for y'all. So this one is by Sophie Lewis. And it says, my body is not yours to critique and discuss. My body is not yours for consumption. My body is my vessel, an archive of experiences, a weapon that has fought battles only I understand, a library of love, pain, struggle, victory, and mystery. Your eyes cannot define all it has endured. Do not place value upon my body, place it upon my being.
We definitely touched up on that. We definitely touched up on that, I think.
Fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Sophie.
Yeah. Sophie girl.
Bestie.
Right? Okay. But if you guys related to anything or if you wanted to share any of your personal stories, y'all know where to find us. We're always at the same place. You can find us any day, anytime.
And our messages are always open. Yep. So let us know. Obviously, you don't have to comment or nothing like that. You can message us and keep it just between, the three of us.
Right.
But yeah, we're definitely here for you guys. We're working on ourselves. If you have any good tips for us, please let us know.
Please don't hold back.
No gatekeeping over here. Okay.
Don't make friends, guys. Or if any of these things helped you, that would be so dope to know too. Just because we obviously have been very vulnerable with even just putting out our podcast every week and talking about our experiences because it's touchy. Not everyone can do this. So we're very proud of how far we've come and being able to vocalize and just be a voice. And so if it helped you guys literally at all, please let us know because that would just make our day. It really would.
For real. Like you guys, this was not, if you would have told us a few years ago that we'd be talking about these kind of topics on a podcast for anybody to hear, we probably would have laughed in your face. Like it would have been like, you must not know us. Yeah, you must not know us because that's not going to be us.
Right.
So
So
yeah, let us know if it's worth it. If it's helped at all.
Yeah. If our trauma has helped. But we love you guys so much and we're so grateful that you stay tuned every week. You know where to find us next week and we'll be here again for you. So
bye guys.
Have a great week. Bye.